Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time you're at or wherever you're at. I hope you're having a good one. Today we're going to talk about the area of squares and rectangles. Now, area is it's not too complicated, especially with these two, and hopefully I'll make this simple enough that you won't have any problems with it at all. At any point during this video, if you feel that you need to pause it or rewind it, feel free to do that. And if I ask you to pause it and do the work, I ask you to do that just because if you don't get the practice, then you might not retain it or might not catch on quick enough. So let's start this. The first thing I want to tell you is area is measured in square units or units squared. For example, if I'm going to say the area of a room is 100 square feet, that would tell you the area there, or the reason, or how we would say unit squared. You could say square meters, or meters squared, or feet squared, or square feet. Either way is fine. Now, two things I want you to think of, or while we go through this, are why would you measure area, and why are the units squared? And we'll come back to that, and you'll probably have an answer before I even get back to it. But those are two questions that are kind of important. All right, so let's get started. Measuring area is like breaking the inside of a rectangle or square down into even units. Now, as you can see, I didn't do a very good job of drawing this because I couldn't find my stylus, and the second part is if you're in my class or if you've had one of my classes, you know I don't draw very well. But so some of this you'll have to use your imagination. So imagine that, hey, this is a rectangle that is even on two sides, and that each square is even inside of it. So let's figure out first off how could we measure the area of this since it's broken down for us already. One way and this way would be to simply count all of the blocks inside. Let's say one block is equal to, and you can see that I'm writing with my finger and it isn't very good, 1 foot. Okay, so each block is 1 foot across and 1 foot down, so that each block is even. So now let's count them, and I'm going to turn it to blue so you can see as I touch each one. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 across, and 1, 2, 3 down. Okay, so there's 4 on that one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So that's 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Now, so that means this one is 12 feet. And if you remember, I told you before, it's measured in square units, so it's 12 feet squared. You'll simply write your square above your, or your exponent above your feet there. All right, so this one is 12 squared feet. Now, this might be a good time to pause it and rewind it if you're kind of lost there, or if you understand it, maybe even pause it and think about it and see if there was another way that we could have figured that out, since you know that each block is 1 foot there. Each block is actually 1 square foot inside of it. So if you want to pause it, feel free. If you need to rewind it, I would encourage you to do so. Alright, so moving on. Our formulas for finding area for square and rectangle they're basically the same, even though they're written different. So you may see it the same way, or you'll do it the same way, but you'll see it written in different ways. So you need to know that just basically for testing purposes, or if somebody asks you. The area of a square, you may also see it written as area equals side squared with the exponent there. So that might be the other way that you see it written. So if you see that, don't let that confuse you. That's the other way of written it. So we're going to start off with the square here that is 4 inches by 4 inches. So now we've already worked on formulas in this class. So the other way, we should know that we're going to just plug them in. So let's take our area equals, and now for 1s we're going to plug in a 4. We're going to put our multiplication sign, And our second S is going to be 4. Now we don't know what the area is, but now we do. Area should equal 16 inches squared, because 4 times 4 is 16. Alright, now for the rectangle, it's going to be the same thing, except we're going to have to plug in our length and width. So we're going to start off, again, writing our formula. We're going to start with area equals, because that's what we need to know. And we know our length is 8 inches, and we're going to multiply that by our width, which is 3 inches, and 3 times 8 is 16. So our area of I was looking at 16 writing that equal sign if you didn't see it. 3 times 8 is 24, so area is going to equal 24 inches squared. Alright, so you can see that's not too complicated. It's fairly simple. But if you are thrown a bit, you might rewind it back to the section before this, or rewind back to the beginning of this section to see how we did it, and or pause it and do one on your own. Although we're fixing to have a couple examples to let you try here in just a second. Alright, so here's our examples that we're going to do. The first one is going to be in a rectangle that is 8 inches wide by 12 inches long. And the next one is going to be a square that is 7 inches by 7 inches. Now, pause the video here and see if you can complete these. And let me know which, or well, I guess I don't say let me know because I won't see you unless you're sitting right in front of me. But go ahead and try those, and then we'll see how your work stacks up to mine. Now, make sure you show all your work so that if you do make a mistake, we can see where you made it. Alright, so you've paused the video and taken a minute to try to complete this. Now let's see how your work stacks up. So our first one is a rectangle, and our formula for a rectangle is area equals length times width. Let me fix my A there a little bit. Alright, so we're going to simply plug our numbers into that formula. We don't know our area, so we're going to start off with area equals. And we know that the length here is 12 inches. So now we're going to multiply our 12 by our width. Our width we have, which is 8 inches. And 12 times 8 is 96. So you're going to end up with area equals 96. And we know that we can't leave the number like that. We need to put our measurement on there, inches, and in area it's squared, so 96 inches squared. So if that's how you did that one, then you did it exactly right. Now going on to our square, we know area equals side times side, or side squared. I'll write it like that to save room. And so we have area equals, because we don't know our area. And now we're going to go 7. And you can go ahead and write 7 squared here, or you can write 7 times 7. Either way, whichever makes it easier for you. 7 times 7, or 7 squared, equals 49. So our area equals 49 inches squared. Alright, I hope that was helpful. That's pretty much the explanation for finding area of squares and rectangles. Good luck.